Yes, Zary, you could have saw that from a mile away. I know. But yes, one of the things we do hold with pride as our accomplishments is that we have held a basket of lemons hostage. But thank you for joining us in live, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. And again, make sure we have a Christ-like atmosphere here, and we make sure we glorify God in all of this. And we're just doing this for fun to try to make sure there's a little bit of clean entertainment going on around the place. So let's see what happens when 8 imaginations come together to blow something up, including lighting our calendar on fire.
And I'm Christian Gamer Jolie. I'd just like to thank everybody for coming out to YouTube. Sit back and enjoy, and sit back and have some great time of role playing with the group.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Zariana. I'm of this crazy group, and we are going to get started. For a little bit of backstory, we have the players have been doing various things for about a month now. They have been they had finished kind of pretty important battle to the area that they are in, and it's been a month since then now, and each of them has done various things of their own accord. Some of them are known to the other players, and some of them are not. So that will be an interesting mix to everything. So I guess without further ado, we'll get started for the night. Forerunners, Chronicles of Arcanus, Chapter 17. It's all up from here. A month has passed since Light's Arsenal drove back the demons from the gates of Zagata. During this time, some changes have come to the trading town, the most significant being the inclusion of the troglodytes in the town's daily life. Shortly after the battle was over, the blue-scaled troglodytes, as you have come to know them, moved their entire tribe of about 1,000 to the outside gates of Zagata. For the first 2 weeks, things were shaky between the two people, but thanks to the efforts of both the party and occasionally Tila, an understanding has come between the Trog and the Zagatans. The truce has proven profitable to both, as the Trogs, enjoy hunting and gathering. They have been all too happy to patrol and clear out the dangers that lurked in Zagata's sewer system. In return, Zagata has supplied the Trogs with not only lemons, but have also helped to show them how to build better weapons, tents, and armor. Besides the Trogs, the party was also busy in town, occasionally crossing paths with each other. You made new and old friends. You trained and improved your skills, and you took on other tasks and missions. All these things have made you even more famous than you already were, and your name has now gotten out beyond the border of Zagata. Your trouble is never far, and with the player's rise in stature comes new trouble following on their heels. You might have to play with the music. Some of these musics are going up and down in their volume. Okay. All right. So, as I said, you guys have spent the better part of a month improving your skills. Most of you have learned new things. You have decided to take this time to improve what you already knew. But also some of you decided to look into some things that you had been thinking about or that you'd heard about and take it to the next level. If you guys would like, we can take the next couple of minutes and you can talk about the things you've done that is generally known to the party. So, with that, let's start with Ari.
All right, for the things that are generally known to the party, Ari has been available at the Crimson Force Tavern and has been playing and recounting the tales and being also very bardic, as it were, in recounting and regaling everybody with the tales that have happened for this intrepid group of adventurers, particularly in regards to the fight and everything else that has come abroad, and has tried to recount all the stories that he can to everybody he can at the end. Mostly to make money, but also mostly to practice his art, so to say. And I think that would be about it. If anybody asks, he's also been visiting with Mayor Heartgaze during the mornings. And if y'all looked, y'all might have seen a particular gnome floating about with Ari, but you'll have to ask about that.
All right. Thank you, Barry. Gorm.
Gorm basically disappeared shortly after Olav did, and probably not entirely sure what happened then with all of that. I'm not sure where we're going to start off as far as what's happening with everyone when we get started, so I don't know if Gorm will have had a chance to say anything. If he did, you know that Olav got kidnapped and Gorm nearly died. And that's probably about it.
Wait, you nearly died?
Yeah, what?
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 A lot happened while Gorm was away.
Yeah. So what you would basically know is that he went off for some time and returned empty-handed with his brother being, as he says, kidnapped, and he was in pretty dire straits. I assume you probably let curiosity bring you back to health, being as he's the only doctor in town besides Tila.
I imagine that happened. Like, I very recently showed up because there were other things that happened after that. I imagine that the kidnapping happened fairly shortly after leaving.
Okay. So all you then know is that he had a pretty harrowing experience trying to track down his brother Olaf. Right. Thank you. Vinda.
Aside from being her mischief fairy self, I'm not really sure. Training to use her needle sword thing because she needs a more reliable weapon. Probably interacting with and helping out the troglodytes. Just, I don't know, being a mischief fairy.
Okay. So then I would imagine probably you've all started to hear there are more rumors talking about the fairy in your party. She's probably become a little bit of a folk legend for the children of the town, and there are misconstrued beliefs that she can grant wishes, and if you believe hard enough, she can make you fly. Which Vinda kind of just has to grin and bear, as your party has become quite famous, and a lot of she's not the only one with strange stories surrounding herself that are blown out of proportion. Is that all? Vinda, is that all?
Um. Hmm. I haven't really had the time to figure things out specifically. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. That's probably I would imagine a good amount of things. All right. So curiosity.
So Curiosity's main focus was trying to find out more about the troglodytes and make sure that their culture was not clashing and that the townspeople kept up their end of the deal. So he tried to talk with the chief and leader a lot. So if he saw you, he probably tried to tell you stories that he heard from chief or something. And then he also spent time trying to find out more about Lalora, although I don't think he probably made much progress. And yeah, he was working on putting together a book about troglodyte culture that he could give to Mayor Hardgaze so that they would be able to understand each other better and hopefully not murder each other.
It's important. Yeah, so regarding the troglodytes, you have learned quite a bit about them. One of them being that their tribe name is the Blue Scales. They're also kind of ostracized from the other troglodytes. They're a little bit different. At least that's what they tell you, is that they're seen as different because they don't really see the big folk or the town folk, whatever. They have various names for them, but they don't necessarily see them all as enemies. They sort of see them as people who don't understand them. You also learn, just because you become involved with them, Tila also gets involved. And from your communication with her and your efforts working together, you learn that the reason she's sympathetic towards them is that they are what are called is a failed enlightened race. And that the enlightened races are the beast folk races, so like cat folk, the Arakora, beast folk that were elevated in intelligence. Their magic was poured into them to basically make them sentient, and then they were trained to use weapons and magic to help defend in the Shadow Soul war because the High Elves had lost so many of their people and they can't replenish their numbers as quickly as the other races. So but in their efforts to create intelligent races, some of them were more successful than others. And so the troglodytes are a result of sort of a failed enlightenment, where they're basically sentient, but their intelligence has never gotten to the point where they could really be considered like a civilized race, that they were not very useful. They couldn't really be ordered in a way that would make them useful in a large scale war. But that being said, you have noticed that whatever the High Elves, they seem to be a pretty intelligent race. Their vocabulary is limited in English, but they seem to have a language all to themselves that seems to communicate very well, a lot of different kinds of ideas. And you picked up a little bit of words here and there, so you know a little, but not enough to really fully communicate, but enough to basically get your point across to them. Your book is very helpful to Mayor Hardgaze, who, while she does desire to spend a good deal of time trying to cultivate an alliance, she's just so busy because as not only with your name being on the rise, and the demon attack, there has been more interest in Zagata. More people have been coming in, more traders, more people are interested in it. So she's been very busy. So your aid was very much appreciated. And then Lalora, you haven't been able to learn much more about herself, except that you don't think that she, how do I say this? She has made some appearances in history. You've managed to see her name, or a name of Lalora, attributed to different things that seem to fit her persona as it has been represented to you. Almost any story that's related to her is in someone's life being ruined, or some tyrant gaining power. She doesn't seem, wherever she interferes, it doesn't seem to end well for the people in that area. But as far as her motivations, who she works for, beyond that she's a succubus, you don't really gain that much more. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Harmony.
Yeah. You would have seen him working with Captain Wayron, working on defenses for the city and helping the guards get more prepared in case there's another attack. Aerie would have seen him spending a lot of time at the tavern with Novi. And other than that, also spending a lot of time at the temple that's in the city. But he didn't really talk about what he was doing there. He's just kind of helping out with the captain, spending some time with Novi, and then sparring with Curiosity and whoever else would want to join him in the evenings.
Okay. Besides the things I already told you about Novi, you learned from spending time with Captain Wayram. Once you get past his exterior, he's like a pretty decent guy. It's just that you can tell he doesn't have a lot of experience beyond just guarding the town. And so recent events maybe made him be a little bit more than normal. You also occasionally have gotten some glimpses from his wife and learned she's kind of a nagging person. She kind of gets on people's nerves. And so in your head, you kind of think, maybe this justifies why he seems to be perpetually annoyed by everything. But he is a good captain. His men do respect him. He lets you do your best to get the troops ready, and he is grateful. In fact, he starts taking some lessons from you as well, but it's more private and, of course, not in the view of the men at all. But it's more just like, better ways to handle his sword and better ways to better protect himself in armor, that sort of things. You're a little bit more combat precise than he is. So he takes some notes from you. But again, it's on the down low. But he is very appreciative, and he does garner a respect for you, different from his views from the others. He kind of views the rest of Light's Arsenal like, pompous champions who did one good thing that one time. But for you, he gives you respect of a true warrior.
Cool. So anyone else who was sparring with Harmony and Curiosity would have seen that Novi had joined them in sparring as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's true. All right, anything else?
That's it.
All right. Winter. Did we lose Winter?
That's what it looks like. I know her picture or her video feed cut off a little bit ago, but there's no telling what happened.
Okay, we'll get back to her then. Bramble.
I see her her thing lining up in Discord, but no sound.
Yeah, if you guys want to just type in Discord and try and get to communicate with her, try and help figure it out while we move on to Bramble.
Sure. After the battle with the armies, I spend 2 weeks with mastering Beastmaster, and then for the next week, I'll spend the mornings discussing potions and magical practices with Tara, because it makes me feel comfortable in her shop. And I want to also see if the arrows that I found, the 3 arrows from the last boss that we fought, see if there's any kind of substance on the blood that might be useful for those 3 arrows. And then in the afternoon, I will spend some time with Aerie, but no one else really knows why. And then in the evenings, I will just kind of go around sightseeing, looking at shops, and then looking around the surrounding areas for flowers, herbs, just kind of something I did back when I was at home. And that's pretty much what, and then I'll just pretty much see if there's anything I want to buy or stuff like that. But that's pretty much most of my time.
Okay. So you spend some time with Tila, which is beneficial to you, especially if you're looking flowers and the things is there aren't a lot of plants in Zagata or outside of Zagata, but she shows you the places she goes to, and some of her more specialized location. She even, it's a little surprising to you, actually leads you back to the oasis you met the party in and shows you that this is a pretty good place to get the items, get specialized flowers, particularly like almost kelp-like substance that's around the pool of water has magical properties to it. So she shows you kind of how to gather that and to make it useful. And of course, you get a chance to talk to her about home and swap stories back and forth. You come to understand she hasn't been home in about 100 years. That she recently, about 60 or so years ago, got married to an Azamar, and that was a little bit frowned upon. So she moved out here with him, and even though their lives keep them kind of in constant movement away from each other, they always seem to manage to come back to each other. But because of that, she's a little bit of a lonely person, and she doesn't really make friends easily, but she lets you and the party kind of into her life, as several of you have already mentioned. And she opens up to you a little bit more in a way that she doesn't quite open up to the others, simply because of that shared background you guys have. You also spend time, as you're spending time kind of, you get a little bit more. You manage to meet several of the NPCs that the party has met. The Gloamling Grace from the fancy clothing shop in the sort of northwestern part of town. You meet with, I can't remember their names, but you meet with this odd, these two tents that are selling different parts of goat. One is selling fermented goat milk, and the other one is selling a different kind of fermented, and you are very familiar with this certain path you come across, and you might even go across it with Vinda, who finds this very hilarious, how they shout each other down about who's better, even though it's basically the same thing. And so you also visit the upper town where some of the rich people live, as well as, the mayor's office. And you get a feel like, even though there's sort of an upper end richer town and a sort of more like middle class lower end, there's really not a lot of poor in Zagata. It's just that big of a town to have a lot of poor, and because it's a sort of a center of commerce, most people in town are doing pretty well. Most people either have jobs or they have one person in their family that works and makes enough money to support someone else. So for the most part, Zagata, at least for you, it's different from your homeland in that it's not very nature based. It's more commerce, capitalist based. But everyone generally seems in a happy mood, and everyone's pretty content in their living area. The only complaints really are minor things about neighbors and products are better.
And then the only other thing I'd want to do is possibly look at getting maybe my bow enchanted by Tila. But
okay.
Discussing that with her furthermore, because she kind of talked about it, but we didn't discuss the price.
Yep. So that's something to put on your to-do list. All right. Now that everyone's... Oh, Winter, are you ready to go now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah?
Hello.
Yes.
Okay, so Winter's pretty much been everywhere throughout the town, running around. She's been with Grace at the first clothing store we went to, the Gloamling. And she's been spending a lot of time in her room at the tavern. And then all of a sudden, moved in with Tila at Tila's shop. And you guys have now noticed she's been running around with a strange clay creature.
Do you want to go into what this creature is?
She explained to you guys that it is what she's calling a golem. And it seems to do everything that she asks it to do. It looks like a tiger, made out of clay. And glowing like fire.
So no straw mustaches or anything, right?
What?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it would probably just burn right off, right?
Yeah.
Reference to something else, but don't worry.
Curiosity, Harmony, she does come up to you and start speaking to you in your own language, in Undercommon, and explains that Grace taught her how to speak in Undercommon.
And also, surprisingly to you both, she has very little of an accent at all.
That's very impressive.
Mm-hmm. Does she speak with the accent that Curiosity has, the more upper class accent, or the accent of Harmony?
I guess that would depend on what Grace taught her. It would probably be more upper class, yeah. Say so.
Well, now I feel left out.
It's
now we have to
alright.
hear Winter's Curiosity impersonation now.
Yeah, whenever you talk in Gloamling now you have to speak in the same way Kyra does. Kyrath. Okay. Is there anything else we should cover? Everyone good?
Pretty much. The only thing wanted to double check on this one. Winter, Ari would have approached you a couple times in the evenings to make sure you're doing okay, but that's about it.
In the beginning, she wasn't. She was not doing well. She was contemplating leaving because she felt pretty useless because her magic wouldn't work. But all of a sudden, she just seemed really confident and excited. And then showed up with this golem tiger.
Okay. I think we're good. Okay, yes. So, you guys, having gotten all those things out of the way, took about a month to get through. But now you have gotten together. You were specifically called back to each other yesterday. You were called by Mayor Heartgaze, as she had a task that she thought she could only entrust to you, as it was a little bit of a delicate matter. And she promised she would pay well for you, although an exact number never was reached, as it sort of depended on how things went. The task she gave you, she told you that a well by the name of Serchus Babel. And one moment while I give the name to everyone, because I know that will be next requested.
We never request spellings of names.
It happens a lot. Every time I try and copy, it wants the whole document thing. There we go. All right. Actually, you know what? Now that we're streaming, I probably should put it down here. There we go. Serchus Babel.
I think the L was missing there at the end.
It just fell off. That's all.
Yeah, there should be an L at the end. Okay. Serchus Babel is a wealthy man, and he has made his way near town. However, he's not a good wealthy merchant. Babel is known for selling black market goods, but more than that, he is particularly known for selling unique slaves. Specifically, what Mayor Heartgaze has told you is he will find people who have unique abilities and a unique look, who are particularly gifted in one area, capture them and sell them off to rich people in various places throughout the world who are interested in sort of showing off these individuals and that they have power over them. So as you can imagine, she's not super thrilled about him being nearby. So much so is that there is a bounty out on him, and she wishes that you guys would collect on it. Weirdly enough, he has decided to make his little home base in a very familiar place to you all, in Strile's Den. And as your party is the most experienced in that area, Mayor Heartgaze would like you to go and not only find him, because they've gone looking, but there are so many, the cave system is so vast, they haven't been able to locate exactly where he is within Strile's Den. There is a catch, though, and she told you this in very plain terms. That the merchant Babel, Serchus Babel, is to be brought back alive. She doesn't care what you do to the rest of his entourage, as she assumes he has quite a large one, but he must be brought back alive, as well as his transaction books or scrolls or anything that would allow them to be able to track down these slaves and maybe bring them back home and find out who bought from Babel and where they took the slaves after they bought them. So, naturally, hearing from the reaction of you all, you took this quest, you accepted this mission, and you started making your way to the familiar cave system where your journey all began. You at first, of course, checked the cave you had been in before, the one with that strange statue in the large pit, but you didn't find any sign of Babel. You did, however, find that it had become infested with strange bug-like creature who were particularly ravenous. There were pockets of eggs that had bursted open, and these large, almost dog-like sized creatures attacked you, and you had to defend yourself from them. You felt like you had dealt with most of them enough to get away from the cave, and so you left that cave system and started tracking through the other systems the other holes that you had previously found, thanks to Gorm's tracking, looking for other footprints, other things while you guys were there originally. Fortunately, you did find Babel's camp. You found it in about this afternoon of today, and you after I'm sure you can imagine a long conversation you all had. What you do? Should you stealth in? Should you climb in? Should you fly in? You eventually came to a plan of action and went inside. However, one of you can roll for this or just decide, but one of you rolled poorly in your stealth and managed to trip an alarm, which has summoned the attention of Babel's entire entourage to you. And that is where we are going to begin tonight. We're going to start with you all rolling initiative.
Uh-oh.
It was somebody over on that side of the screen.
I'm really glad I took the focus I did.
Good thing.
Barry is on that side of the screen.
Yeah, I couldn't see Barry motioning, so he's clearly gesturing to himself.
No. Okay, that's initiative. That's dexterity over here. Okay.
Wow, that was so great.
Oh, that's right. I just took a focus. Yay!
I think me, you, and Bazak all took a focus in initiative.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Oh, no. I had copied and pasted this thing, and then you guys wanted the name, and now... Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Remember to put your initiatives into the box on the screen down here. Because you can do that now.
So we should all roll stealth to see who to blame for this mishap, to see who gets the lowest stealth roll.
It'll probably be someone's creature, I would imagine.
Or it could be me.
Or it could be you, yeah. Curiosity is not very stealthy. Too curious.
To no one's surprise.
Yeah. So, do you want us all to roll stealth for this curiosity?
I mean,
No,
do you want to
definitely wasn't
by
Vinda.
9?
All right, I'm
Vinda
sorry.
was in the necklace.
thought
She's
it
like
was perception. What was stealth again?
It's dexterity.
dexterity.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
dex. That puts me at 11, so I'm at least, I think, higher than curiosity.
Did everyone put their initiatives in?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Okay. So, strangely enough, we are starting with Jeffrey. He is on the ball.
Let's see here. All right, let me. Sorry.
Oh, and I should probably switch over. Okay, you guys can see, yeah?
Yes.
Yes, indeed. If you want to take a look at Twitch, if you can, to see what I see, it should be just about what everybody sees.
That's actually a good idea. Then I can see what y'all, and then I'll know if there's problem.
Pretty much.
Kyrath, okay.
Sorry. I was
Okay.
looking- because I don't think Jeffrey actually. I was trying to switch him over because his numbers got mixed up in there. I don't think he had it as high as he was at like an 11, so he shouldn't be in the top of the line. I mean, he can be if you want him
It looks like it's a 12.
He had a 12.
to. Yeah, it was his stealth that was rolling at the end.
So you put the 23.
Well, no, that was from before. That automatically popped up. I hadn't changed it yet.
Okay, so what's Jeffrey's actual
Jeffrey should be
initiative
a
then?
12.
Okay, and your initiative is 19?
Yeah.
Okay, then you're going first. So it's still you.
I'm going to right above Winter. I'm gonna attack him. This
Okay.
guy right. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, it's not letting me select him, but you know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we will go ahead and see what we can do here. And he has a stunt bonus as well of 3. So he's also going to use pinpoint. And then he's going to use lightning attack.
Okay. So you rolled 14.
Mm-hmm.
That will definitely... Yeah, that will definitely hit him. Okay. So go ahead and roll for damage.
Yep.
Okay, and what weapon are you using?
The bow.
Okay. Yep. Okay, I see that. And you were going to do a lightning attack?
Yes.
Okay. So go ahead and,
And I was
roll
using
that.
and I was using a pinpoint attack. If my dexterity is higher than his.
Yeah, it's definitely higher. so
That
that goes
gives me
through his
1 to-
armor.
Pinpoint.
Pinpoint gives you another d6 of damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. There's that. It was not working. Here. Sorry, 1 second.
You're fine.
Alright, I'm just gonna do the roll again and then we'll just take 5 off of it.
Okay, so that's 3 then?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, after you all kind of were trying to hunch together, trying to carefully weave your way into the corridor, one of you, probably Curiosity, bumped into something and sent some rocks tumbling down, which triggered an alarm. And you saw, all of a sudden, kind of out of the dark, different figures coming in. One of which you noticed was coming right onto Winter's position. You quickly snapped your bow bend back, and sent it straight into his shoulder blade. And you managed to wiggle through his armor, it looked almost like he's severing his arm. And you see him, clutches his arm, comes back up and starts to draw his blade against Winter, but you definitely did a significant amount of damage. Go ahead and roll for your lightning attack.
Okay.
$11 will just hit. Ooh. Okay.
Doesn't pinpoint don't work on that one.
Round.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, then that's with the second attack, with your second arrow, you bring it back and you aim a little bit lower to a gut shot, and you stop him short in his tracks. You see him kind of stumbling. He seems like he's on the very edge of death. So that you've used your major action. You have a minor action left.
Sorry, man. Where's not me? I'm gonna go with aim. It's a minor.
Okay. Remind me real quickly what that does.
That's +1 if it's a melee attack or at range on my next one.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Yep, so you can do that. Alright. Vinda.
I'm going to hit these two down here with downdraft.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. Whew. Okay. spell power.
And I'll use the stunt point to increase the spell power.
You okay?